Hello everyone, this is Eric coming at you with a Throne of Eldraine set review. I'm going to be going through all the cards. I'm going to start with white, go to blue, black, red, green, multicolored, then artifacts, lands, etc. And I want to do this just to give it a shot. I've never made a video before, so hopefully this one goes in without a hitch. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm actually gonna use the limited resources type of grading from A to F, which is unplayable. F is unplayable. A is the biggest bomb in the set, basically, or A plus is the biggest bomb in the set. If you want more information about that or the grading system, you can go to limited resources, any of their set review videos, and they will hook you up with that. Anyway, let's get started. So the first one is Acclaimed Contender. 2 and a white for a 3/3 human knight. When Acclaimed Contender enters the battlefield, if you control another knight, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a knight or equipment or legendary artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This is a rare. This one is really good. Like, if you just have like a 2-drop knight, which shouldn't be too hard in white, you can easily get there. And then it searches all kinds of stuff like knights, auras, equipments, legendary artifacts. If you happen to have like the circle of loyalty, I think it's called, this could grab that. And yeah, it's just a really good card. You'll be happy to open this, draft this, probably pack one, pick one in a draft, and then just go hard into the knights or artifacts or equipment even. So yeah, I would give this one, I'd say probably a B minus or B. I mean, it's all right. I mean, it's more than all right. This is a really good card. It's a 3-mana 3/3, which is by itself pretty good. And if it whips, I mean, 3-mana 3/3 is not bad. Let's move on. All That Glitters is 1 and a white, so 2 mana for an enchantment aura, a enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. So by itself, I think it gives +1/+1 since you control this enchantment. I don't know, like, it's an aura, and I think white-blue is the color pair that wants to do enchantments and artifacts. So, I don't know. This one you can easily get 2 for 1, and it does give a pretty big boost for only 2 mana if you have like 1 or 2 other artifacts. Counts food tokens, which is a plus. So if you can make food, I don't know if you can do that much of that in white, but yeah, I don't know. It's all right. I'd probably give this like a C minus because you're not often going to have a lot of artifacts or enchantments, and probably gets better with Theros for constructed, but it's like an enchantment heavy block. But yeah, it's just not great. I'd give it a C minus. Next up is Archon of Absolution, 3 and a white for a 3/2 creature Archon at uncommon. It has flying, protection from white, and creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. Alright, so it's a 4 mana 3/2 flyer at base level. Protection from white, so you can't use All That Glitters on it, which kind of sucks. It's got one of those Ghostly Prison Light type effects where Ghostly Prison says they have to pay 2. This one makes them pay 1, which can still be pretty annoying. Like, sometimes this will force them to choose either between attacking you or casting a spell, which is upside. Pro white, I've heard pro white be called the worst color to have protection from. But I mean, there are white flyers, so this could get in there in the air pretty easily. But it has 2 toughness, so it just dies to everything, and I don't know, it's just not great. I mean, you'll be happy to run it in your white decks. I'd probably just give it a C. I just don't like this card. I'm sorry. That's some expert analysis right there. All right, moving on. Arden, Vale, Paladin. It's 3 and a white for a 2/5. It's a creature, human knight at common. Has a new Adamant ability, which Adamant says if at least 3 white mana was spent to cast the spell, or Adamant means 3 mana of whatever color the spell is. So if at least 3 white mana was spent to cast the spell, Ardenvale Paladin enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. Now, a 2/5 for 4 is playable. You're not really happy about that, and this is by far not a first pick at all. Like, no. This is like mid to late pack pick. It is a knight. And then if you can make it a 3/6, I mean, that's pretty good. That blocks everything. They'll have a really hard time attacking into that. 2/5 by itself is not terrible. But there was a card, I think it was like Coldwater Snapper or something in the last set, that was like blue for the same stats minus the Adamant. It was just a vanilla 2/5. That didn't get much play. There was like the Wish Coin Crab that did the same thing. I think Ravnica, one of the Ravnica sets. So if you need a knight, this is kind of good filler. I'd probably give it a C. I mean, it's not gonna win you the game, but at the same time, it's just good filler, and it's a knight, so there's that. So C for Ardenvale Paladin. Next up, we have Ardenvale Tactician, 1 and 2 white, so 3 mana for a creature human knight. Has flying. It's a 2/3, but it also has adventure. Now, this is the first time we're seeing the adventure mechanic. So the adventure mechanic is like a creature that comes with a sorcery attached. So what happens is you play the sorcery half of it first, then this creature goes into exile, and then you can cast it later from exile. So anyway, Dizzying Swoop is a 2 mana 1 and a white instant adventure. Tap up to 2 target creatures, and that has the reminder text, which I just basically said. This one is actually pretty good. I mean, it curves into itself. It's 2 mana and then 3 mana, so on their turn it's an instant, so you can tap their two attackers, and then on the next turn you get a 2/3 flyer for 3, which is not bad. It does have 2 white pips, which is annoying early game, but it shouldn't be too hard to do in limited to get 2 of the same color early on. I mean, there are times when you can't cast it, but I mean, there are harder cards to cast for sure. But yeah, I do like this one. I'd probably give it a C plus, because 2/3 flyer for 3 is pretty good stats, and it's kind of hard to kill, but it does still die to that red burn spell that deals 3 damage for 2 mana, which sucks. But what doesn't that kill besides, like, you know, stuff with more than 3 toughness? Anyway, I think this is a pretty good card, so yeah, C plus. Next up, we have Bartered Cow, 3 and a white for a 3/3 creature ox. When Bartered Cow dies, or when you discard it, create a food token. So food token is another new mechanic. The food token is an artifact with 2 tap, sacrifice this artifact, you gain 3 life. So just depends on how much you value the food, because you'll probably want to trade this off and then get a food token. Or it's kind of cool that if you discard it, you get a food token. There's some discard in like red, I guess. But 3 mana for a 4/4. I mean, 4 mana for a 3. 4 mana for a 3/3 at common. It's just filler, really. I mean, yeah, you get a food token if it dies, but it's nothing special. This is like a C to a C minus. I'd probably say C minus. You don't want to put too many 4 mana basically vanilla creatures in your deck. The food token isn't nothing, but it's just not great. So let's move on. So C minus for Bartered Cow. Next we have Beloved Princess. It's 1 mana for a 1/1. It's a creature, human noble at common. It has lifelink, and Beloved Princess can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. So this one is interesting because if you like pump it to maybe a 4/4 somehow, they just can't block with bigger stuff, so this always gets through. but it's like a 1-mana 1/1, so it dies to literally everything in the game. Besides the stuff that cares about power 3 or 4 or greater or whatever, which is there's a white one. So I don't know. If gaining life really means that much to you, I mean, I guess you could do worse. But we're gonna see the next card gains even more life, so whatever. So this is just pretty much filler, and I guess if you have like that Love Struck Beast, this counts as a 1/1, so then it can attack, but that's in green, so you have to be playing green white. It's just really filler. I think this is just like a D. Like you're really not happy to put this in your deck. And the upside of can't be blocked by it has like Skulk sort of. I don't know, it's not great. So I'm giving it a D. Next up, Charming Prince is 2 mana, 1 and a white for a 2/2 human noble. It's a creature, and it's a rare. And when Charming Prince enters the battlefield, choose one. You either scry 2, you gain 3 life, or exile another target creature you own, return it to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. So this guy, I just said he'll gain you 3 life, which is pretty good against like aggro or aggressive limited decks. Scry 2 I'll probably do most of the time, but it has that funny like exile another creature you own, not even control, so if they steal your guy from somehow, you just get it back, which is amazing. So that's like it's really fringe upside, but it's not bad to have on a 2 mana 2/2. This has good value. I don't know if I'd first pick this because this is it's a 2 mana 2/2, so which with upside, so it's not going to win you the game. It's not like a huge bomb, but you're always happy to see it. It's good early, it's good late. You can't see that life. Scries you those 2 lands away or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I'd probably call this like a C plus, like a high C plus, maybe even a B minus. It's like right in the line there. But this will be really good and constructed. But in limited, it's decent. 2 mana 2/2. Yeah. All right. So let's say B minus. I'll give it the little edge there. Okay. The next one is the Circle of Loyalty. It's 4 white for 6 mana for a legendary artifact and mythic rare. And it says this spell costs 1 less to cast for each knight you control. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance, and you can pay 3 and a white, tap it, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. Okay, the Circle of Loyalty. This is the first in the cycle of legendary artifacts. There's 1 in each color. This is the white one, and this one's decent. So it costs 1 less to cast for each knight you control, and it's not hard to have knights in white. It's probably like there's so many knights, like it's ridiculous. So this can easily come down for maybe 4 mana. It's not hard to have like 2 knights out. This will be 4 mana for +1/+1 to your creatures, which is not bad. And then the next part is like whenever you cast a legendary spell, you get a knight. That's hardly ever going to come up, like hardly ever. There's very few legendary cards in the set. I mean, there are the legendary like knights. I guess there's like a white one. I mean, there's 1 in each color, so plus all the other legendaries. So I mean, yeah, I mean you could have a legendary spell and get a knight, but that's not amazing upside. Like it is a little bit of upside, so I mean it's not nothing, but it's kind of hard to trigger, so it's kind of flavor text. And then 4 mana you get a knight, which is essentially a 3/3. So I mean, however you make a knight with this card, you get a 3/3. So this pumps out knights. If you got nothing else to do with your mana, I don't know. I'd probably first pick this. I mean, it's not the biggest bomb in the set, but it is pretty good, and it's an artifact for things that care about artifacts. So yeah, I don't know. I like it. Yeah, I'll give it a B, I think. It's pretty good, but not the biggest bomb in the set for sure. Next up, we have Deafening Silence. Deafening Silence is 1 mana, a white for an enchantment, an uncommon. Each player can't cast more than one non-creature spell each turn. So this is an F. I mean, in your limited deck, you're going to have maybe like at the most 10 non-creature spells. That's a lot. So you're not going to even try to cast 2 non-creature spells a turn. Now this is better in like Modern and maybe Standard or something, where people are in Modern and they're like storming off and stuff. People are excited for this card and like Modern, but in Limited it just does nothing, and it's a worse Rule of Law, and Rule of Law like is not playable in Limited, which gets all cards or all spells. Rule of Law says each player can only cast 1 spell each turn. This says non-creature spell, so I guess if you're a heavy creature deck and you're facing against a control deck, maybe you'll side it in, like a deck that has a lot of spells. But then again, they still get to cast their 1 murder or whatever, what have you. So it's just an F. I'm sorry, I gotta move on. Next up, we have Fairy Guidemother, 1 mana for a 1/1 flyer. It's a fairy. Has an adventure, Gift of the Fae, 1 in a white sorcery adventure. Target creature gets +2/+1 and gains flying until end of turn. So this is a sorcery, so they're going to see this coming a mile away. But +2/+1 and flying will get your guy in for 3, 4, 5 damage, which could be pretty good. But is it worth it to have a 1 mana 1/1 flyer? I mean, that's not great. 1 mana 1/1 flyers die to everything, and maybe they'll ping in for 1 or 2 damage before dying, or becoming irrelevant to literally any other flyer. So this one I'll probably give a C-, but given the fact that Gift of the Fae does get your guy through, helps it a little, but it's still not a great card, so I'm giving this a C-. Next up, we got Flutterfox, 1 in a white for a 2/2 fox at common. As long as you control an artifact or enchantment, Flutterfox has flying. So this is an artifact or enchantment payoffs, I guess, for whites. Gets flying. Flying 2 mana 2/2 is decent. Trades with stuff in the air, like their Order of Midnights or whatever, so. But it kind of asks a lot of you, because it's how often are you going to have an artifact or enchantment on turn 2? Not often. There's like a few 1 mana artifacts and enchantments. So, not the best. But it's a 2 mana 2/2. The art is amazing. I love the wings on his like feet. He's like fluttering, and I don't know. It's awesome. So, yeah, this one's just filler, really. It's just like a C. Yeah, I'll give it a C for Flutterfox. Next up, we got Fortifying Provisions. 2 in a white for an enchantment at common. Creatures you control get +0/+1. When Fortifying Provisions enters the battlefield, create a food token. This card is pretty awful. +0/+1 for 3 mana for all your creatures just really isn't worth it. And you get a food token, but like it kind of helps your guys survive and helps you survive, but how often is the 1 toughness really going to matter? I mean, it is annoying and it does help your guys survive in combat, but it just does so little, and it asks too much of you to put a 3 mana do nothing enchantment in your deck, like, and you get a food token, yay. Like, there's like no food payoffs in white. It's all in like green and I think black, so or, I don't know what color is it. Just not great. I'm giving this, I mean, the 1 toughness does come into play, I guess. It's D- or F, really. I mean, what's the difference, really? I'm saying F. I like giving F, so this is an F. Alright, so next up we have Giant Killer. It's another creature with an adventure. So the Giant Killer part is 1 white mana for a 1/2 human peasant at rare. You pay 1 in a white and tap it to tap target creature, but it has the instant Chop Down attached. 2 in a white for an instant adventure. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Now this card is really good. Like, Oh my god. This card, like, it's so annoying. Like, do you guys remember Law Rune Enforcer from War of the Spark? Just, that had a drawback where you couldn't even tap everything. But this one says you can tap anything for 2 mana. I mean, 2 mana is kind of a lot for tapping, but that's good. And it has 2 toughness for when that matters. So it blocks 1/1s, yay. But it just taps everything. Like, their biggest bomb, tap it. They're a little guy, tap it. Like, it gets your guys through, tap it. It's amazing. And then chop down. First you kill their biggest creature, and then later you can tap their next biggest creature with the giant killer part of this. This card is awesome. Really good. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just solid. Both parts of these are like decent or even pretty good, and then put them together and you have a really good card. So I would give this maybe a B+, maybe even an A-. I'll say B+ for Giant Killer. I like it a lot, and I would definitely first pick it. Unless white is terrible, then I won't pick it. But no, I'd still pick it. It's really good. So I'll go B+ for Giant Killer. Okay, next we have Glass Casket. 1 and a white for an artifact. When Glass Casket enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls with converted mana cost 3 or less until Glass Casket leaves the battlefield. So it's like an Oblivion Ring for stuff with CMC 3 or less. This is really good. You can get all the early creatures and like Murderous Rider and stuff like that. So this thing takes out a lot, and it asks so little of you. It's only 1 and a white. Oh yeah, it's an uncommon. It's just really good, and it's an artifact. And in constructed, you could fetch it with Karn, which is stupid, but now Karn can get removal from the sideboard, which is amazing. But yeah, this is just good. In limited, this is probably like, I might first pick this in weak packs if the rare is bad, but this is just really good. So I'll give this, let's see, I'd probably give it like a B-. It's pretty damn good. Pretty freaking good. B-. Happily Ever After. Oh god, okay. 2 and a white for an enchantment. When Happily Ever After enters the battlefield, each player gains 5 life and draws a card. This is a rare. I might have forgotten to say that. Each player gains 5 life and draws a card. Okay. Okay, that's there. Okay. Then at the beginning of your upkeep, this is all flavor text, I'll be honest. So, beginning of your upkeep, if there are 5 colors among permanents you control, there are 6 or more card types among permanents you control and or cards in your graveyard, and your life total is greater than or equal to your starting life total, you'll win the game. So that's almost impossible in limited. I mean, if you're really trying to build around this, like, I think you deserve every win you get with that. Like, if you're if you're going 5 color in limited in this set, especially, which wants to go monocolor, go for it. And then each player gains 5 life and draws a card. In your white decks, gaining life is pretty good and drawing a card is good, but then again, your opponent's doing that too, so that's not very good. And how much do you want your opponent to gain life? I mean, this is just awful. I'm sorry. This is just not a playable card. I'll give this an F. It's just bad, and never first pick it. Never. I would see this like last pick almost. Unless you have those rare drafters at your table, which I do have sometimes. So F for Happily Ever After. Next we have Harmonious Archon. 4 and 2 white for a 4/5 flyer. It's a creature Archon at Mythic Rare, has flying. Non-Archon creatures have base power and toughness 3/3. When Harmonious Archon enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white human creature tokens. So this card is a house. This is one of the best cards in the set. All it asks of you is that you have like 1 or 2 more creatures than your opponent, and then you just win. Because this I mean, this makes 3 bodies, and the 2 smaller ones are 3/3s because of its own text. And there's only one other Archon, which is a 3/2, which makes me sad because it just wants so badly to be a 3/3, but it's not. This card's really good. Probably one of the biggest bombs in the set. Definitely in the top 3 of white cards. But sometimes it helps your opponent more than you. But it does make 3 bodies. So if they have, let's say you have 2 creatures and they have 3, then you're going up to 5 creatures and they're have the same amount, and now everything's a 3/3. So, it's just stupid. Like, this card is really good. Plus, there's a lot of constructed applications. Like, if you play this with Nissa, who shakes the world, all the lands she makes become 6/6s because they're now 3/3 lands with 3/1/1 counters on them, making them 6/6s, which is just stupid. So in constructed, this is really good. In limited, this is really good. This is just an A. I really like this card. So A for Harmonious Archon. Okay. From my favorite card to the set to maybe my least favorite card in the set, we got Hushbringer. It's a 1 and a white, so 2 mana for a 1/2. Creature fairy at rare. Flying, lifelink. Creatures entering the battlefield or dying don't cause abilities to trigger. Flying lifelink 1/2. I mean, the body is fine, I guess. 2 mana for a 1/2 flying lifelink. Like, that's all that's going to really matter in limited. I mean, there's some enter the battlefield stuff, some dying stuff, which, yay, maybe you'll snipe a death trigger, or maybe you'll snipe an enter the battlefield trigger. But, yay, now you have a 1/2 flyer with lifelink, yay. I just hate this card. It's really good and, like, constructed for, like, a hate bear style deck, but in limited, I would not first pick this because all it is though flying 1/2, which is not going to get there very fast. 20 turn clock, yay. So everything together, I'd probably give this like a C minus. I'd say D plus. I just don't like Hushbringer personally. Okay, next up we have Knight of the Keep. It's 2 and a white for a 3/2 human knight at common with flavor text, and that's it. So it's a knight. I mean, it's a 3 mana 3/2, which is playable, which is like a D, with no text. So it's power and toughness. So, and it's a knight, which is relevant. So, I mean, how much do you value knights? How much are you desperate for knights? I mean, yeah, I'd say like a D plus for Knight of the Keep. But the plus is for being a knight, I guess, which matters. Next up, we got Linden, the Steadfast Queen, 3 mana, all of which is white, for a 3/3. Legendary creature, human noble at rare, has vigilance. Whenever a white creature you control attacks, you gain 1 life. Oh boy, white life gain. How original, Wizards. It's legendary. It's vigilance with 3/3. Excuse me. This card, like, I don't like it. 3 white mana asks a lot of you. You really got to be deep white. And how much do you want to be white in this set? Like, no. I don't like it. I mean, it's a 3 mana 3/3 with vigilance, so that's okay in combat. But how often are you going to hit 3 white mana on turn 3? That's just hard. And it's not even a knight, so it doesn't. You can't use it with training grounds that land. It's just not that good. I mean, it looks amazing since, it's legendary, yay, but the life gain doesn't really matter that much. Limited life gain is okay, but I mean, it just wants you to be in a mono white deck. I guess in a mono white deck you could do pretty well with it, but I'm just not very high on this card. I'm giving this a C. I mean, it's okay, but it's not great. I'm giving it a C. Okay, Lonesome Unicorn is 4 and a white for a 3/3 with vigilance. It's a creature unicorn at common. Has adventure, rider in need, 2 and a white. Sorcery adventure. Create a 2/2 white knight, creature token with vigilance. So with the adventures, this adventure at common staples 2 mediocre cards together. So you get a 2/2 token and a 3/3 vigilance. Well, this is okay. I mean, okay, I would not put a 5 mana 3/3 vigilance in my deck, but you do get a 2/2 white knight too, which is a knight, which is cool. It's all right. I don't want to spend too much time on this card, but it's a C minus. Just it's 2 mediocre cards stapled together, which kind of make like an all right card, I guess. So C minus. Next up, Mysterious Pathlighter, 2 and a white for a 2/2. It's a fairy, and it's an uncommon. It has flying. Each creature you control that has an adventure enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. So, each creature you control that has an adventure enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. That's alright upside. It's a win drink. You'll play it. I wouldn't first pick it. I guess there's like an adventure sub theme in white and green, and each color has adventures. But this one, it's okay. I mean, I'd probably give it like a C. It's a one drink with upside, so that's not bad. And just depends on kind of how many adventure cards you have in your deck. Which, I mean, you'll probably have a fair amount of them, so but you'll probably value them highly when you're drafting if you have this. So it's a 1/1 counter on an adventure creature, which it's marginal upside, but I mean it is upside. So, I said C, but I'll probably go to C plus. I do like the upside, so that's pretty good. Next up, we have Outflank, which is a white mana for an instant. It's a common. It says Outflank deals damage to target attacking or blocking creature equal to the number of creatures you control. So this is just a worse outnumber, and if you have a lot of creatures and they're attacking you, they're probably already going to be screwed anyway because you have so many creatures. So this will just trade with a big attacker. Or if you're on the offensive and you're attacking with 5 creatures and they have a 5 toughness creature, then you can kill it, yay. But this card is so situational. I don't like it very much. I'm giving it a D. I mean, you could put it in your deck, but there's better options, so I'm giving it a D. Next up, we got Prize Griffon. Prize Griffon is a 5 mana 3/4 flyer. It's a Griffon, and it's common. And that's it. So 5 mana for a 3/4 flyer is not bad. I mean, last set we had the 5 mana 3/4 flyer, which had upside. I think it was called Boreal Elemental, where stuff costs 2 more to target it, and that was annoying, but it was such marginal upside. So this one doesn't have that upside, but it's still okay, and you'd probably play one of these in your deck if you were in white. Wouldn't play too many, but maybe 1 or 2. So I'd give it a C. It's just decent. 3/4 in the air is not bad. Next up, we got Rally for the Throne. Rally for the Throne is a 2 and a white for an instant at uncommon. Create 2 1/1 white human creature tokens. Okay. Adamant, if at least 3 white mana was spent to cast this spell, you gain 1 life for each creature you control. So if you have Adamant, which I hope you would if you're playing this, you're probably playing this only in a heavy white deck. It's worse to Raise the Alarm, which is 2 mana for the same thing minus the Adamant. So 2 mana for 2 1/1 human soldiers at instant speed. This one gives you 2 humans that are 1/1s. I mean, it'll give you some life. It'll get you some creatures. It's alright. I imagine like the ceiling on this is like you have 5 creatures and then you play this and then you gain 7 life. Like, yay! I mean, you really get there, but then again, you still you have to have Adamant, which eats up all your white mana. I mean, I'm just not a big fan of this. This is worse than Raise the Alarm in my opinion. 3 mana and 2 mana, there's a huge difference. So I'm giving this a C minus. Still playable, but you're not really that happy about it. Next up, we got Realm Cloak Giant. Realm Cloak Giant is a 5 and 2 white, so 7 mana for a 7/7 Vigilance Giant at Mythic Rare. Woohoo! That's it. No, just kidding. Comes with an adventure. Cast off. I think we have every form of cast something possible. We had whatever. So 3 and 2 white for a sorcery adventure. Destroy all non-giant creatures. So this is the board wipe in the set, and it's a pretty good one. There's some giants randomly that are usually big, which you want to kill, which this doesn't kill, which is kind of bad downside, but I mean, you get a 7/7 vigilance attached to it. That's pretty freaking good. I don't know. This is just a bomb, and I would definitely first pick this. So I'd even give this like an A minus, because like it just kills everything except for a few creatures randomly. And then it comes with a 7/7 vigilance. So like controlling decks really want this because it gives you a finisher attached to your board wipe, which is amazing. So it doesn't kill Bone Crusher Giant or the Beanstalk Giant or Yorvo, some random green creatures, but kills most everything else. And this can go toe to toe with those big giants. So yeah, I like it. A minus. Next up, we got Righteousness. Righteousness is an instant for 1 white. Add uncommon. Uncommon. Wow. Target blocking creature gets +7/+7 until end of turn. So this one, you know, it'll win you combat when you block. They'll never see it coming, and you really got them. So, I mean, I'd be sad if I got by this, but I probably deserved it. It kills everything. Let's be honest. So, I mean, that's pretty good. If you're on the defense, this is pretty good, but you do need a creature. It's not just removal. I would say this is better than Outnumber, or whatever, Outflank. Not so much better, but still pretty good. So, I'll give it a C minus. Next up, we got Shepherd of the Flock. Shepherd of the Flock is a 1 and a white, so 2 mana for a 3/1. That's all on the creature side. But the adventure says Usher to Safety is 1 white, or a white for an instant adventure. Return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. So this is save your guy for 1 mana, and then you get a 3/1. So it's a little awkward because like on turn 1 you're not going to play this, and maybe if you draw it late game you can save something that's been put to sleep, or charmed sleep I think it's called, with that blue tap, like water knot clone kind of thing. This one, it's a 2 mana 3/1, which is pretty aggressive stats for a adventure creature. So I don't know, it's okay. It'll save your guy if you got it white at mana. So that's not bad. But it's pretty much filler. Like that card isn't, the adventure isn't great, but it does save your bomb. So you might want to keep 1 mana up if you have this. But I'll probably give it a C. It's just kind of filler. Yeah. All right. Next up, we got Shining Armor. Shining Armor is 1 and a white for an artifact equipment at common. Has flash. When it enters the battlefield, attach it to target knight you control. Equip creature gets +0/+2 and has vigilance. Equip 3. So has flash, and so you want to be playing this in a knight deck because it only cares about knights. And if you're flashing it, that's the only way to get it on your creature. So it has flash, which I guess if it didn't have flash, it'd be a lot worse. Maybe it doesn't help your creature kill their guy though. It just makes them survive. So you could get them if they're looking to trade already, and then you just play this and save your creature. Could be all right. Equip 3 is so much. Like for this, like +0/+2 and vigilance. I don't like that. This is it's just really bad. I'm sorry. This, I'd probably give this a D minus, if not F. I'm not putting this in my deck. Even if I have a lot of knights, there are better equipment out there. So So F for, I'll say F for Shining Armor. Next up we have Silver Flame Ritual. Silver Flame Ritual is 3 and a white for a sorcery at common. Put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Adamant. If at least 3 white mana was spent to cast the spell, creatures you control gain vigilance until end of turn. Okay, so it's a sorcery, which is not good. I'd much rather this be an instant. 1/1 on each creature you control. That could be pretty good. If you got 3 creatures, it gets +3/+3 total. If you got 4 creatures, +4/+4. And so makes your little guys more relevant. Gives your guys vigilance so maybe you can get a good attack in. This is kind of a win more though, because if we're already gonna attack, this just gives your guys, makes your guys bigger, so by 1. So I don't know, it's all right. I don't hate it, and the art is just so cool. I love that like blue flame thing they got going on. Sticking the swords in. I don't know, it's pretty cool art. There's so much cool art in this set actually. But giving vigilance is marginal upside, but it is something. So it makes your guys bigger and they can't even attack into you. So I don't know. It's like a C. I'd give it a C, yeah. Silver Flame Squire, 1 and a white for a 2/1 human soldier. Oh, it's not a knight, it's a soldier. For a common. So it's a 2/1 for 2. And then the adventure is on alert for 2 and a white instant. It's an adventure. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Untap it. Ooh, so I think this is a rare one where the adventure is like way better than the creature, because the creature is just filler, but the on alert is a really good like combat trick because it gets them. Because usually combat tricks like they're looking to trade or just kill your creature, but this one is like, oh your creature is tapped, so I can just attack through it. But nope, this will untap it and make it huge. So I do like on alert. Is it enough to include a 2-mana 2/1 in your deck? I mean, 2-mana 2/1s are playable. They're not unplayable, but I don't know. So this one, I think it's a C because the creature is not great, but the trick is pretty good. So, how much do you want a good trick? In white, you probably want some tricks, I guess. So I'll give it a C. It's just decent. Next, we got Sir Alan the Lion's Claw, 5 mana, 3 and 2 white for a legendary creature, human knight at uncommon. So it's a 4/4, has first strike. Whenever Sir Alan the Lion's Claw attacks, other creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Huh. So 4 mana, I mean 4/4 with first strike is huge and really hard to deal with in combat. Plus when it attacks other creatures you control get +1/+1. That's pretty good, but that's kind of the same as that Inspiring Unicorn from like, I think it was Guilds of Ravnica, which didn't see much play even in Limited. But this comes on a 4/4 body with first strike. I mean, 4/4 with first strike is pretty good. Plus it's a knight, which white cares about a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I'm high on this. A lot of people aren't high on it. Oh, 5 mana for a 4/4. That's not good enough. No, I think this is good. This has to be dealt with. It can almost always attack unless they have a 5 toughness creature, but then your other guys are getting through for +1/+1. So yeah, this guy's pretty good. I'll give it a. I mean, I don't know if I'd first pick it. That would have to be pretty bad to first pick this, but I could see first picking it. I'll give it a B- because I do like it a lot. So 4/4 first strike. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get there. So B-, Sir Alan. Anyway, Trapped in the Tower, 1 and a white for an enchantment aura at common. Enchant creature without flying. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. So this is pretty good. It's kind of like pacifism plus, it's like a rest more like, but it's 2 mana. With the drawback that you can't hit flyers, and that's a pretty bad downside that you can't hit flyers. There's a decent amount of flying, especially like in blue. So that's a downside, but this will shut down their like best creature, so and they can't activate abilities of stuff, so that's pretty good. It doesn't ask you very much. It's only 2 mana. So I do like this a lot. This is, I don't know if you could first pick this. First picking Trapped in the Tower. Could happen, I guess. So I'd say it's like it's right in the line between C plus, B minus. So I do like it quite a lot. So I'll give it a B minus. Next up, we only got 4 cards left. So next up, we got True Love's Kiss, 2 and 2 white for an instant. At common, exile target artifact or enchantment, draw a card. So this actually, I think, is going to be good in standard because it exiles enchantments, and if gods are a thing, they were legendary enchantments, which were really hard to deal with. So this gets rid of those. But in this limited environment, you can get rid of a legendary artifact. I guess you can destroy what's it called? The 2 mana artifact guy. What's a glass casket? Sorry for doing that. That's okay, but this lets you draw a card, which is really valuable. So for 4 mana, it's like Slice and Twain kind of, which destroyed an artifact or enchantment and draw a card. I think that was an instant, but this one's an instant. But I mean, 4 mana is a lot, so you might main deck this. I sometimes main deck artifact or enchantment. I hate, but usually it's just a good sideboard cards. So you might want to pick one of these up for your sideboard, but that's really about it. So I did D plus, C minus maybe. I do like it because it draws you a card. So, but you do need a target to draw a card. So, we'll say D plus. Next up, Venerable Knight, 1 mana for a 2/1. It's a human knight at uncommon. When it dies, put a 1/1 counter on target knight you control. This card is awesome. This is exactly what the Knights deck wanted. A really good 2 power, 1 mana knight, which when it dies, which it will because it's got 1 power, you get a counter. So that's pretty good upside. You do need to play it in a knight deck because when it dies, it only puts it on knights, but that's pretty good. I mean, you get a 1. It doesn't ask a lot of you. It's just 1 white mana, so I mean it's really good. And the knight deck really wants 1-drops, so this is probably the best 1-drop in the knight deck. I will give this like definitely a C plus. Yeah, this is like a good knight card, so C plus for Venerable Knight. Next up, we got Worthy Knight, 1 and a white for a 2/2. Whenever you cast a knight spell, create a 1/1 white human creature token. It's a human knight, sorry, and it's a rare. This card is really good. It's a really good knight payoff. You're going to have a lot of knights in your deck just by accident almost. And whenever you play a knight, you get a 1/1. So this is definitely one of the best white cards in this set. 1/1s don't sound like a lot, but that is a trump blocker. And this card really helps you when you're behind. Well, as long as you have like another knight. Like you can play this turn 2. Turn 3, play a knight, get a human. Then you got 3 creatures, turn 3. That's pretty good. And then late game, you play this and a knight in the same turn, then that's 3 bodies. So that's pretty damn good. And also, cool art. He's like walking through a portal or something. I don't know what's going on, but that's really cool. 2 mana for a 2/2 baseline. That's not bad. But if you got the knight payoffs, I mean this is a knight payoff, so if you got the knights, it's a really good card in the deck. So I would first pick this. This is pretty good. This would put me in a white knight deck for sure, which is not hard to draft around. So I'm giving this a I'd say B plus. Yeah, B plus. So last up we got Youthful Knight. Youthful Knight is a 1 and a white for a 2/1 human knight at common, and it has first strike. This card is actually a pretty good 2-drop because they just can't block with their 2 toughness stuff, which everything in the early game has usually 2 toughness or less, unless it's like a 2-mana 1/3 or whatever. But this tax and block's pretty good. It's a knight, which matters, especially for like worthy knight up here. I don't know, it's just good. It's a solid 2-drop. I'd probably give it like a C, maybe even a C+, but it's kind of like in the middle there. So yeah, I'll say C+. This is pretty good. It's a knight, so why not? Alright, that's all the cards for white in the set. I'll try to do all the other colors, but this is my first video, so we'll see if you guys like it. Let me know in the comments, and yeah, take care.